So Henry Fonda said that he has in his top 3 of his own movies was 12 Angry Men, Grapes of Wrath, and the Oxbow Incident. So I figured I've done Grapes of Wrath, so let's go take a look at 12 Angry Men. He produced it himself, and he admitted that that was one of the reasons he put it in his top 3. But apparently all of the internet agrees with him because it is the number 5 on IMDb of all time. And I was like, number 5 of all time? Wow! So I had seen it when I was a teenager and I figured this bears another look. There are a huge amount of reviews to find. So everybody has everything to say about cinematography, which is awesome, amazing, etc. And the storytelling, which is awesome, amazing, etc. So I thought I'd actually highlight the case, the court case. Not that I am any sort of lawyer or even any sort of an American, because I'm not. But the case itself is about this young man who is really only just 18. In the teleplay, he's 19. They changed that to 18 in the film, I think, to underline just how young he is. He's a teenager, even though they call him a young man, and then they basically refer to him as the boy from after that. So even in the film, they wanted to make sure that everybody knew this is just a kid. And they showed him, and he would have been something ethnic. He gets no lines. And he is being judged by a jury not of his peers. Because all of these guys are easily 30 and older. They're all white. And they are all of very well-to-do backgrounds. They're either white-collar employees or they are business owners. Even the garage guy is a business owner of 3 garages. He says he works with these people, but he is not one of them. So the whole concept of jury of your peers is out the window the moment this movie starts. The other thing that is glaringly obvious about the put together of this jury is they're all guys. Apart from the enormous whiteness, they're all men. And so I went looking for, what is that even a thing? Well, that was a thing because after the women got the vote in the 1920s, in 1920 exactly, in the US, they were given an opt-in for jury duty. Being a citizen in the US means that you can be called for jury duty. That is part of your citizenship. And they decided that women were needed in the home and therefore they would have to opt in, much like certain factions want people to sign. I mean, the whole concept of signing up to vote is insane because you're already a citizen, so you should automatically be able to vote. That is just not something a Dutch person can understand. And so they did the same thing. And the whole concept of having people to making people sign up specifically for this right is a way to make sure that they don't actually get to exercise their right. So women would not sign up for jury duty. And you would have numbers like, 300 women were signed up for jury duty in a state or a county, and 80-something thousand men were. Because they didn't have to sign up. They didn't have an opt-in. They were automatically asked for jury duty. And then I'm like, but is that really so? Because we're in this New York area, and the film keeps referring to the boy and his father as in they were living in a certain apartment building in a certain area where an L train is going past right next to the apartment building. So even if the apartment wasn't in an area that is lower class, if the entire neighborhood wasn't lower class, certainly the apartment building was lower class because it was literally on the L line and you couldn't hear yourself think or speak when it went past, and that would have been every few minutes or so. So it's definitely lower class housing. So what I think, what they're not saying, this is all about what they're not saying, what you're supposed to know. Because I don't know this. I'm Dutch. I'm in the 2020s. I'm not an American white dude from the 1950s. So my conclusion is that they actually are only calling up people in nice neighborhoods, to put it like as gently, as gallantly as I can. But the people in the nice neighborhoods get called for jury duty, but the people in the lower class neighborhoods do not get called for jury duty. How do we know this? Because juror number 5, he has a slum background, and they specifically say he came from the slums, he is out of the slums. So even the one that would have been of his peers already isn't, because he's made his way out. He is also a white-collar worker somewhere. So everything is slanted against getting this young man his fair trial. I would say that if you had women on the jury, that would balance it out more, because there would have been more of an emotional, and that's of course me being stereotypical, but let's say there's a little bit more of emotional investment in the fact that he's such a young man. Whereas these guys are mostly all going, oh, he's a young man from slum background, and I'm sure he's been up to no good, so he's probably
done this.
Yeah, he's probably guilty. He probably killed his dad. And you look at the close-up of the boy, which is really, really well done at the beginning of the movie, and he's terrified. Because he knows that 6 days of trial, the prosecution, but also his defense, tried to crucify him. He knows he has no chance. Because he didn't do it. He knows that. And nobody's going to listen to him. And the defense attorney sucked. Our main guy, Henry Fonda, juror number 8, also in the subtitles named the dissenter. He's saying, wait, stop. I don't know. Can we talk about this? And he was literally the only one. Even the old guy, took a while for the old guy to get around about, let's just spend the time to talk about this. So all of these white men don't have any, and this is white, most of them are going to be silent generation men. There's nobody from the baby boomers, because it's 1957. So even the boy is a silent generation, because he's from 39. Yeah, so they're silent generation and greatest generation, probably, because the older guys are going to be greatest generation. And these were, there was no such thing as equality, Women were there to marry and have children with, and basically ignore everybody else while you elbow your way up to the top. That's what these guys learned, that's what they're doing, and they have no time for this. Most of the guys really just don't have any time for all of this. It's shown a couple of times, like the racist guy, juror number 10. He just wants to get back to running his business. And the gambler guy, juror number 7, who just wants to, the ball game starting at 8 o'clock. The time in the film doesn't quite match up, because they're arriving there, it's clearly daytime, then it starts raining, so it's very dark outside. But it's so dark that it is effectively night, and they've been there a while already. Yes, they could have been a jury, or they could have gone to do the jury talks, whatever that's called, deliberations, earlier in the day. But for a while you think it's night, and then by the end of the film they come out of the courthouse, and it's daytime after the rain. That nobody ate, nobody had to adjourn for sleep. So I don't know what they meant with that. It just basically they're saying is that the whole thing was only about 2-3 hours.
Yeah, an afternoon.
Yeah. So the case. So I have notes, because I cannot do all the details from my from memory. We only have one eyewitness. This is the woman from across the street who looked through the L train. They never mentioned why the fact that the L train came by was actually important. The only thing I can come up with is because without the L train there wouldn't be light. But I don't know because they don't say that. But she has to look through the L train, the last 2 cars coming by, to see the boy actually stabbing his father. And we can conclude that she couldn't see that because of the glasses that she had, and we established that there were glasses involved. She lied. So she lied because she was vain
and too poor to get better glasses.
No, they actually make a case that she was in her bed, and so she wouldn't have put on her, because it was a split second. She heard the noise, she looked, that there, and boom, it was over already. So she didn't have time to go, oh, where are my glasses, put them on, and then look. So she literally did not. Yeah, it was all very conclusively rejected as truth. Okay, so here's my. I have a theory about why that she may have lied for a different reason. So the other witness is the guy downstairs, is the old man. He heard the yell, he heard the body hit the floor, but the L train was going by. That was a lot of noise also in his apartment, so he wouldn't have been able to hear it. So he probably lied. The old guy, juror number 8, supposes that he did it because this old man had never amounted to anything and wanted his 5 seconds of glory in the courtroom. So that's another type of vanity as well. He couldn't have made it from the bed down the hallway to the door to see the boy running down the staircase because he had a limp. So, and it just was too long. He said it took 15 seconds, but they do it in the courtroom itself, and it actually takes, I believe I wrote it down, it was like 41 seconds. So it couldn't have, he definitely lied. So he literally lied that he did that and that he saw anybody. So we've established that the boy had been abused by his dad ever since the mom had died at age 8 or age 5? I think in the teleplay it was age 5, and I think in the movie it was age 8, but it was something along those lines. No, age 5. And mother died at age 9, and at age 10 he was in children's court. However, he was being beaten by his dad with fists from the age of 5 on a daily basis. And the question came, why would he go out and buy a knife? You know, he might have been buying knives all along. This might not be a strange occurrence for him. It's like his dad beats him up, he goes out, he buys a knife, he goes to the movies to calm down, he comes home, he goes to bed. Except that he came home and the dad was dead. And the cops were there to arrest him, the detectives. And they throw him down the staircase. All these little things, like he was beaten with fists and they threw him down the staircase, those are very quick things that somebody just mumbles when they're going through all the details of the case. But these things are extremely important because that basically meant that boy had never in his life been treated well. And he's not expecting to be treated well. He's not expecting to be treated by these jurors of not his peers any differently than he's always been treated. Oh, by the way, the mandatory sentence is the electric chair. So he's dead. For all intents and purposes, he knows he's dead the moment he walked into that courtroom. The moment that these detectives were standing there waiting for him, he knew he was going to die. So I would say knowing that would be a very good reason not to do things like getting caught for a murder. Why would he go back home? And they do actually go through that. They bring up that point. I don't remember them ever resolving that point. Why would he go back home if he had actually killed his dad?
Yeah, why not run away?
Yeah. There was nothing there for him to get. There was no money. There was nothing that he, what do you need other than your life? None of it makes any sense. The stabbing angle, now, oddly enough, both cases, both the teleplay and the film, they established that the father was 6'2" and the boy was 5'7". That is a very, very large difference. Well, if he is 18, he may not have had his second growth spurt yet. Usually, when people have kids, they become sort of the same height, and this boy was clearly not yet that same height as his dad. And his dad was huge. 6'2" was well above average in the 1950s in New York, but certainly, around the world. So he's just a kid.
I just had a thought. Maybe the reason the father is beating up on this kid is because this kid is not his kid, and that's why the kid is not as tall.
That could very well be because he started beating the kid at 5 years old and got worse when the mom died. So he's probably like, why is this kid even in my house? I hated it to start with, and now I don't have the mother of the kid. And clearly she didn't have any other kids. After that, it is an only child situation, so any wrath of the father is gonna come down on him every single day. Why he was even coming home every day, it's unbelievable.
The devil,
Yeah, I mean, where
he's
he's gonna go? He's been beaten up so many times that he probably is like, this is normal for him, and they say that getting beaten was so normal for him. Why would he go out and get the knife and kill the dad on this particular occasion? He was only hit twice that evening, that kind of thing. They didn't say it like that. It's like, he was hit twice and therefore he went back and to kill his dad. But then juror number 8, our lovely Henry Fonda character, says, why? This was on a daily basis. They give him a background is he was kicked around. At 10 years old, he was in children's court. He spent a year and a half in an orphanage. And at 15, he went to reform school. Now, unfortunately, that reform school was not a boarding school, because that would have actually been better for him at this point. He was arrested for mugging, and he was known to be a wild and angry kid. Well, when we saw that kid in the close-up, that is not a wild, angry kid. That is a kid reacting to everything that's happening to him, and in this moment, it is utter terror. Why was he in an orphanage for 1.5 years? And this is where it gets interesting. The father was in jail for forgery. And then I'm thinking, this is the plot that they haven't told us. So, here's my idea. What really happened? The father is a forger. Now, forgery is a very, very specific type of crime. You're not a forger by yourself. You need people that you're going to forge stuff for and sell stuff to and do jobs for. Who would that be? The mob.
Or just bad guys, because...
who are in the mob.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you're there long enough. I can't see any scenario for a forger and staying out of the mob. And I think they put a hit on him. He probably knew too much, or he put his foot in the wrong way for something.
Big mouth.
Yeah, he shot his mouth off, whatever it was. But eventually, after, let's call it 18 years of this kid's life, the mob finally went, no, we have to kill this guy. Who can we frame? We can frame the boy, because he's clearly a nobody that nobody's going to care about. Not even the old man downstairs cares about the boy.
You don't even have to frame him. They didn't have to frame him. It just...
The thing they framed him with was the knife. And the other thing they could have framed him with, and that's why I come back to the witnesses, the old man downstairs, they could have offered him lots of money. It was described by our old man, juror number 9, who was very observant, is that the guy had badly mended clothes on. It was his best clothes, but it was poorly mended, so he was very, very poor. So they could have given him money for whatever, even debts or whatever. I mean, it could not even result in him having newer, better clothing. It could just result in he has fewer debts, or, it's that kind of situation. So it's easy to pay off or to pay the testimony of the old guy downstairs and the woman across the street. Why would she even be there to testify? The whole thing that this woman is there is insane. Police, police, I saw the whole thing. Attention. Or she's with the mob, or they bought her. So I think this is much more clearly the case, is that the father, the one mention of the forgery basically gives us an idea of what could have happened. The boy may have also just been an accidental person in the entire thing, except that knife is odd, because that particular knife that they only had one in the store, of course, juror number 8, our dissenter, comes up with an identical knife. This is in both the teleplay and in the film, and it is very good for cinematic effect. Nice drama. I have problems with it because, one, you're not supposed to go out and bring in new evidence to a case during jury deliberations.
Yeah, and even for actual law, a lawyer on YouTube was talking about a case where it came up. Basically, he says that what the Henry Fonda character did here, with finding the knife, extra knife, going out to do any sort of testing, that's a mistrial. That is not no guilty. That's a mistrial. What he should have done was take his theories and his ideas back to the judge, and the judge would have taken it under advisement and do something about it, and it may have been a mistrial.
Oh, that would be super interesting. I would love to see that alternate reality version of it, because it is fascinating what number 8 has to say and what his thoughts are, and he pinpoints very clearly that the defense attorney was crap, but given that it was a pro bono situation and the defense attorney has to do it, he's not there to do a good job. He's there to get on with his other cases.
Yeah, but the job of the jurors is to judge the evidence as laid out before them, not to find some of their own or make judgments about the lawyers.
Yeah.
You do that to the judge, saying the lawyer has
the angle of the stabbing. That actually is another case in that they come in with new evidence during deliberation, because they're taking it. The dad is so tall, the boy is not. How can he stab down? Well, you lift your arm up really high and you hit the stars, of course. You lift and you yank it down. Except this was a switchblade, which is operated like you hold it like this. You flip it open, flip, and push. So it could be high, but it'd probably be lower, because you'd be, I can't do that on camera, but so you do it underhandedly. And our juror number 5, off the top of my head, I need to look at the numbers. Juror number 5, who actually has experience with the switchblades, comes in and says, no, you don't use it like that. You don't. And also juror number 8 says, okay, I have it like this. I flip it open, chunk, and then I have to change it. That's not an action that you would do with somebody when you're enraged. Actually, when it's enraged, it would also be murder, manslaughter, instead of first degree murder. But probably they made a case for first degree murder because he bought the knife in order to kill the dad,
which shows premeditation, which would make it first degree.
Yeah.
But if he has no premeditation, it's second degree.
Yeah. And
then even if it's just a fight that goes out of hand, it's manslaughter. So that's one down.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was another. Okay. So I don't think they could make a case for first-degree murder unless they accept that he bought the knife in order to kill his dad. Like, on purpose, I am now going to kill the man who hit me twice.
But I guess that I don't. I have seen the movie too, but the charge would have been a multiple charge, like a multiple choice. They would have charged first degree and maybe second degree, and then
That's not in this movie.
On the whole, that's what they do. And then
Because they specifically say
if
if we all agree that he is guilty, then it is a mandatory chair.
So they put him on for first degree murder, which is
Only.
not what they do now.
Yeah. Well, it could just be that in this teleplay, that's what they did. Certainly, lawyers and stuff will have stuff to quibble about with this film because there's stuff that is not correct. We have this mistrial situation with the just bringing in the second knife, saying, okay, I went out and I fought it. My other problem, because I did say number one, the problem is that he brings in new evidence. The other problem is he gets into the courthouse with a knife, with a switchblade knife. What?
It's 1957.
As I heard, you don't even get into a high school these days without being scanned. So it's like people of now don't understand how that can happen. You can't get into a courthouse in the Netherlands without being completely and utterly scanned, and they go through all your bags and everything. I mean, it's the same as airports. So that says a lot. It also says a lot how privileged these white men are. They let him in anywhere. Nobody asks any questions. It's just yeah. So the utterly privileged people in society should not be the people making decisions about everybody else. If you don't play the game, you don't mess with the rules. And they do establish the rules quite well. For everybody must agree. So when there's one dissenter in the beginning, they are going to have to stay there until that's resolved, or a hung jury. And then at the end, there is one person who clings to the guilty verdict. And they basically all put their eyes on him now. It's like, okay, convince us. Tell us why. Which is what they did at the beginning with dissenter number 8, juror number 8. I like that, it's beautifully mirrored. It really works. You can also see the Henry Fonda character being meek at the beginning. Everybody talks about the camera angles. The camera angles is like low. They're looking up to the camera at the beginning, and then in the middle they're looking straight at the camera line, and then at the end the camera's coming from below, and then you see Henry Fonda really looming over. But also juror number 4, I believe it is, that's holding on. No, that's juror number 3 who's holding on to his guilty verdict because he has a son that he just is completely heartbroken over, and he raised badly, and then son went away. So this guy has a son. We briefly hear that juror number 8 has 3 kids. No gender revealed, but that's it. Nobody has family, and that's in the teleplay. People didn't have even a profession, so they just didn't have time to go into it. It was just literally, these are stick figures, and all these stick figures could have these archetypical issues with or their particular reason to say no, that boy is guilty. For me, the entire film is a good advocate against the jury system. There's something wrong with this jury system because there's no women, there's no people of color. Basically, everybody is between, let's call it 30 and 45, except for the old man. I think the racist guy, number 10, I think he may be in his 60s, but that's about it. Everybody else is prime of life kind of thing, thriving. What would be fascinating is to watch it again and just look at every juror, how where their ideas come from, and then the way that is waylaid. It's like, no, yes, you're saying this, and here's the evidence. Let's look at the evidence with your argument, and here we go. We have now proven that argument to be false, with a new look on the evidence, and sometimes only a few times with like new evidence. But most of it comes from that the defense attorney did not do a good job. Because really everything that juror number 8 does is put on a defense for each of it, and then says, is it possible that she couldn't see who was stabbing? Is it possible that the guy couldn't have made it all the way down the hallway to see the boy run? Didn't even get to, is it possible that they actually lied and were paid? Is it possible is the thing that gives enough doubt so that there is reasonable doubt. And one of your TV lawyer or YouTube lawyers was saying that you need, for criminal justice, you need to have something like 95 to 99% certainty before you're saying, yes, this person has done that and we will punish him for it. That's why the reasonable doubt comes into play here. In a lot of other types of law and court cases, you don't need that high of a percentage. But given this young boy, and that they're going to kill him, because they say the chair, and he's going to be sent to the, that they never say we're going to, well, they do actually say, before I will send the boy to die, I will need to at least talk about it and know that I've done the right thing. And I found juror number, I'm going to look it up, juror number 4, very interesting, because he's the broker. And so he is effectively the counterpart to juror number 8. So juror number 8 is an architect, it's Henry Fonda, and he's sitting there and he's saying, let's be humans about this. Let's give this boy a chance. Let's talk and see whether we are actually convinced. Just buying time. And then juror number, I keep forgetting, number 4, the broker, he is like, no, here is the evidence. We don't need to be humans. These are facts. Facts. And the facts say that the woman saw it. We can throw out all the other evidence. And literally the moment that's said, that's why the script is so clever. Every time somebody says, we can forget about this piece of evidence because that piece of evidence is conclusive. And then they're like, okay, we're forgetting about all of this evidence. We literally don't have to prove it or disprove it anymore. Because now we're only concerned with this one piece that you're saying that is the conclusive bit. And that was the bit about the woman who saw it. Because that's the only eyewitness. And the question is, can you ever have an eyewitness? Is there, a lot of crimes, especially murder, I would imagine, would be committed in such a way that there are absolutely no eyewitnesses. So do you always need an eyewitness? And I don't know the answer to that. Okay, well, probably not. But in this case, there was an eyewitness, and it is about as the only thing that would even put the boy closely to that he was actually there, because he was also at the movies. He kind of has an alibi. The boy says he left at 8 and he was back at, I think it was 3:15 in the morning, because it was like a double billing whatnot, and then he went shopping before that. So why would he be there at midnight to get there? Could have sneaked out of the movies, killed, and gone back to the movies. And if the boy had done it and it was premeditated like that, he would certainly have kept the movie stubs for the films, would have memorized the film titles and the actors that were in it, because there was also a plot point. It's like he didn't remember which movies it was. Like, that's a pretty dumb alibi. Yeah. So Beyond a Reasonable Doubt is effectively the message of this film, and I think the message of this film unintentionally is be wary of juries, because you do need to do it well. Do they know what they're doing? Are they there with the right reasons? It's also a lot of reasons for people to get out of jury duty is if you're a single business owner, like the racist juror number 10, which had a fantastic scene about the racism. Love it, so good. That they walk away from him as he does his tirade, which is in the teleplay already, and it's so good.
Actor is so
good. Yes. Oh, yes, we can look him up. Ed Begley. Okay, yeah. The moment you see his face, you go, oh, yes. And he's so good as a bad guy. And the thing is that he stands there, he is not convinced that his racism is incorrect, but he has realized when everybody turns away from him and just does the shunning thing, is that he's lost whatever it is. He's in the wrong, but I don't think that turned him off being a racist at all. He just lost in that moment. Yeah. This film breaks a lot of rules of writing. Love it! Nobody has a name. We don't find out our dissenters, juror number 8's name until the very end. The old guy and he introduced themselves to each other, which is a lovely scene. But then it's like, oh, hello, this is my name. What's your name? Bye now. And it works so beautifully well. So having so many characters in one room, just the one room thing is usually a game breaker. And we were debating that it was it feels like a play, and it is a teleplay. So it was written like a play, but it wasn't a play to start with. It wasn't like a tried and true play. Because a play you get to do like 400 times before you make a movie out of it, and it's streamlined. But this is like, wow, it's so good. It was an absolute smash hit. Well,
if it's on the top 5 of all time, it's yes.
People knew immediately. It was a low budget of $337,000, but brought in $2 million. Like 8-fold or something like that. I do want to make a note of the defendant, our young boy. His name is John Safoka, who played the defendant. He's practically mentioned nowhere. He's practically credited nowhere, but he is on the Wikipedia page. There's also a movie that was a remake in the late 1990s, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I saw that they did cast black actors for that as well. So it's a more diverse cast, but it's still an all-male cast. And I'm interested to find out how they get away with that.
It's called 12 Angry Men. You can't have 12 angry people.
In the juror room, there are 2 doors to the bathrooms. One is for men and one is for women. Why? Because they did have women did have a right to be on a jury, but they had the opt-in, and so they probably would never be on a jury. You can find the original teleplay on YouTube. Do look for the one, we could probably put a link in, do look for the one that is the remastered. It's not that much better than the one that isn't the remastered. The way they did that was because this was a live play, and you can see that the cameras are actually having trouble because they need to get the right guy for the speech and for the moment that they speak. But if somebody else moves, at one point there's this person who moves in front of the camera and you can see the camera swerve, so they actually had moving cameras. There would have been these huge behemoths of things, and they would have had multiple cameras because it was a live thing. And then what they did was they had a prompter which is just playing a television, and they had a camera on that recording it. And that's when I found out that's like, now I understand why they all look like they have all these TV lines in it, because it's a film made from filming it off of a television screen, which would have been a bowed tube screen. So it was pretty difficult. But they recorded that.
At least we've got it.
Yes, they recorded that. They recorded that because they had a delay for the West Coast. So they would then 3 hours later they would play it again. So they didn't have to actually play it. Actually that would have been videotape, by the way. It wouldn't have been film, because you'd have to develop the film, and there wouldn't be time for that. But Bing Crosby brought in the Ampex tapes after Second World War. He found the Ampex tapes system, which is a very early version of videotape. And that's when they started doing the time delay. You record the thing, and then you air it again for the West Coast. And he went out golfing.
And then you reuse the Ampex tape.
Yes. And somehow this one got saved.
Think in America they probably didn't reuse them. In the Netherlands they reused them, so we have a lot of lost stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah. You find it under Westhouse Studio 1, teleplay. It is still called 12 Angry Men. And juror number 8, our old guy, Joseph Sweeney, is the same actor as in the film, which is the only overlap. And I absolutely love it. I have no idea how Henry Fonda got his hands on this.
Probably saw it and went grab.
Yeah, it's so good. And Sidney Lumet did a fantastic job of directing it. So I would love to go into all the jurors again. The only thing I want to say is that I do think needs saying is not. I don't find that anywhere else. Is that juror number 7? He's gambling. I think he's a gambling addict. I think there's a bunch of guys there that need to get out of there because they're just done with it. They want to get back to their lives. But this guy is really, really stuck on everything is a gambling style talk, game style talk. So I think he's an addict, and I think that's why he is just not concerned with anything other than that. Yeah. A++++. Of course. There's a reason why something like this is in the top 5. It is the number 5 of all time. It's like, I'm still gobsmacked. I'm glad I watched it again, and there's endless film analysis on this on YouTube and everywhere else. So good luck. Enjoy. I would also recommend teleplay, because I had a really good time, and it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So it's still very good. You got was it Robert Cummings or something like that as the main guy. They don't have time to have any sort of backstory, so it's much more dressed down going through the whole thing. But it's like the entire case is there as it is in the film. The film is better because you just have more time and you can get into stuff. And of course, Henry Fonda is awesome. I would like to nominate MishaCollins to play Henry Fonda in a film. Can we please hurry that up? Because Misha's also not getting any younger. But yeah, you look at his face and going, oh, Misha looks about the same. Could do a very good Henry Fonda. Okay, well, thank you for listening. And that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.